Good morning, everyone. I am Emmanuel. Today we are going to analyze and see together the literary elements that you should extract from any literary work you are given to analyze. And there should be at least 11 elements that you should extract from any play, any novel, or any poem, specifically, which is very narrative. Today's lesson will be interactive, and I hope you will be enjoying it together. Before going to those 11 elements that you are going to analyze, we should know why we analyze literary work. We analyze a literary work in order to understand not only the story that is depicted by the author, but also the deeper meanings and the message of the literary work. So it may be a message about the society, about development, about the economic or other corners of human beings in his or her daily activities. So you should know that there are different elements that are used by authors, playwrights, poets to express their ideas, and while we are analyzing them, we should keep focus on the meaning of the story itself, the message it gives, and it may be explicit or implicit. Either the message is given directly to the reader, or the message is symbolic that requires readers to interact connotatively with the literary work. The first and foremost elements that you should analyze in any literary work is the title of literary work and its significance. The title of a literary work, for example, let us take a novel. It is not chosen by an accident. It is chosen purposefully. So it usually represents the main character who the story in such literary work is revolving around. So the main problem and the central idea. So for example, if we take the title Mine Boy, it shows the life and the suffering of a young miner, you know him, who is called Zuma, and this title symbolizes the exploitation and the racism which was happening in South Africa during the years of 1930s centuries. And this is all about title and its significance. And you should know that while we are analyzing literary work, we analyze it in two dimensions. Either it is connotative or denotative. When we say denotative, it means that the meaning of the title, it says it is directly what is inside the content. The title aligns with what is in the content down. But when we say in connotative, it hides the meaning behind. You should analyze, and most of literary men's and women's usually say you have to read between lines. The second element is setting. While analyzing setting, you should analyze two things. There is a spatial and temporal. And spatial, you understand the word space, and space means place. And it is about physical, social, or environmental setting. And when you say temporal, you understand the word time, and which means the time. To me, in setting, you analyze where the story is happening and at which time. Is it in the evening? Is it in afternoon? Is it in the morning? things like that. But in overall, the setting of the book, it is different from the setting of events. The book the setting may be in South Africa, but there is other places like Marais Camp, as you have said in the example of Mineboy. There is in the street, there is in the mine site, and about the time, the overall setting in time, it is 1946. But there is also another time, if it is in the evening, if it is in the morning, things like that. So, according to the time and according to the place, all these two things affect and influence characters' behavior and contribute to the conflict which will arise between characters and will enforce to the author's purpose to give the meaning and message and the themes to the readers as it was expected to happen. Another element you should analyze in a story, it is plot, and most of the time it is called the storyline. And when you say plot, most of people, they say it is the sequence of events, and when we say sequence, one thing follows another and one causes another to happen. But there is different types of plot. When you say it is circular, then events that happen in such a story, it is not in a sequence order or in a chronological order. So plot means the arrangement of events in a story with a cause-effect relationship. So in plot, as you know, we have the beginning or the introduction. We have where the story begins by showing us the main characters, the main conflict to be arising, and even the setting. And the rising action, the problems or the conflict is starting to grow, and themes is being developed in order that readers will just see what is happening actually, and it has started to get the meaning. Climax, it is the highest point of the story where things turn or move from the place or the direction we're expecting to be. And in following action, there is the way solution is being started to be found out, and in resolution, the conflict are ended and the solution is found. That's all about plot. Another element you should analyze is characters. So characters are people, animals, or other signified material that are in the story or that act in the story. So in characters, we divide them into major and minor characters. And the major, they are those characters which revolve from the beginning of the story to the end, and the minor characters are all those who support even the protagonist or antagonist, but does not appear from the beginning of the story till the end. While you are analyzing characters, you should study their traits, their roles, and how they change across or through the literary work or the story. For example, we may have a character who can change from being weak to a strong due to an advice from his fellows or his neighbors or her neighbors. And we may also have a character who may change from an innocent to a wise man or wise woman. So, for example, when we take Zuma, Rhea, and Eriza, you express their trait, their characters. Traits is like characters, what characterize them according to what they play in literary work. And about the roles, what role does they have in such literary work? The other element that you should analyze in literary work is conflict. Conflict is the main and the central of the story. So conflict means the struggles or problems in the story which characters must face or build between them or between them and other characters. So conflict might be between people, between a person and the society, or inside a person. For example, when we say between a person and society, you know a play called Enemy of the People by Henrik Ibsen. Dr. Stockman had made research, but when he presented to the minister ignores the suggestion, and the society also opposes Dr. Stockman. So you can see the conflict is between Dr. Stockman, a person, and the society, and between Dr. Stockman, a person, and his brother Peter Stockman, who is a person. Conflict might be character between and the other characters, character in society, or character in himself or herself. Another thing that you should analyze, which is very, very important, is themes. Themes, the main ideas. So themes are the main ideas of the novel, which can include racism most of the time, poverty, love, freedom, identity, and unity. So themes shows what the novel is mainly talking about. The themes shows what the story or what literary work is talking about overall. Another one that you should analyze, it is point of view or narrator's position, as literary women usually calls it. You should analyze who tells the story. You should know if the one who is telling the story is a part of story, or if he is a part of the story, or if he is near the story. So the story tells the story tells us, and we describe and we know if the one who is telling the story is the first person, third, or second. The first, we use pronouns like I, mine, we, things like that. In the third, we use they, she, it, he, things like that, them, and that. And the second one, we use you, as if you are addressing to someone who is in the front of you. The other one that you should analyze is style or language use. You should analyze how the language is used. Which style was used by the writer of any literary work. So, style refers to how author writes. It includes the type of language used, if it is simple, or if it is complex, or if it is symbolic language. It also, in style, we include dialogue, description, and tone, and even mood. So some writers use simple language while others use complex language. For example, if you read literary works of Shakespeare, of his years in 15 centuries, you can see that the language is very complex, that it requires modern audience to reinterpret it in a modern language, so that the writers or the customers can just understand what was being talked about. So if you read classic works of the recent years, it is not very complex as that of the old times. So you should analyze how language is used, if there is a distribution of dialogue, how the tone was described, which mood is being created in the audience. Then you come to literary devices. Literary devices, let us say, take an example. If you cook food and you never add in ingredients, the food may not taste better. But if you add some ingredients, your food may taste better, so that even the neighbors may come due to the good smelling of such food to visit you and just share with you. So literary devices, it is like also ingredients that you should add to your literary work in order to attract audiences and make them impressed to listen to what you are telling them, which we commonly use to name it themes. So you should analyze symbolism. And when you say symbolism, you understand the word symbol, and the symbol is there to represent another thing. For example, if you take your smartphone, if it becomes like a symbol, it symbolizes technology or modernity. So symbolism, how is these words that were used by the author symbolize another thing behind? And that's where it comes to be connotative or denotative. There is a denotative, the word itself and its literal meaning, and what it symbolizes, which is also called the connotative meaning. So there is also use of metaphor, the indirect comparison between two unlike things. He is a rock, his heart is rock. You see, this is very direct, and you compare things which are unlike. To me, his heart does not accept, he does not be impressed by any activity easily. Also, similarly, it is also a comparison between two unlike things, but you use comparison words like as, like, resemble, and other comparison words. So he is like a sheep, to mean that you are not intelligent or you are absent-minded. So about imagery, which image does the story create in you? And about image, there is some five ways that imagery is created. Maybe it is through touch, through smelling, through taste, or all those senses, or movement, all those senses that a man or people gain in his or her diary. This is how imagery is created, and it might be or even in the mind. If they tell you in the mind there was a tunnel where people used it to pass while going to carry, then you can imagine how the hole was and how the water was falling down, so that the roof of the tunnel was falling down, and suddenly Chris and Jones died there. So irony, this is the difference between from what you say and what you mean. If you see someone who's urinating in public, then you say, this man is a wise man. you mean he is absent-minded, but you use a word which is totally different from what you are going to mean. So another one, it is the mood or atmosphere. Mood is a feeling created in a reader after appreciating and reading literary work. So it can be tense, you feel frightening or conflicting inside you, fearful, you feel fear, hopeful. So mood is created by the setting, how the setting is described, how events are being arranged from the beginning in the course the other one to happen, and the language of the novel. If it is very complex and you don't understand, then the mood is not created as it was expected. But note that if it is complex to you, it doesn't mean it is complex to me. So according to an extent that you have understood the literary work, the mood may differ from the other's mood due to that our perception is very, very different. The other one you should analyze is message or moral lesson. Message or moral lesson. So the message is what author wants us to learn. There is a central idea which we call the theme, but about that central idea, what does the author or the literary work writer want us to learn from it? So it may teach us about justice, about unity, and or even need to change the society. So for example, it may tell us that racism is wrong, unity is power, human dignity, and others. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, while analyzing literary work, you should keep in mind these 11 elements which we have specified in this presentation and today's lesson. And you should understand, and when you understand these 11 literary elements, you are able to understand literature and the society better. Because we always say that literature is life. We all reflect and we all live in literature. Because when we define literature, it is a work of art that looks at man in his social, political, economic, and all spheres of his life daily till his doom. So these points I have ever presented to you will guide the student to think deeply and critically about the novel. And I am appreciating for your dignity and your presence to listen to me. On subscribe and on the ring. The God shall give you back what you have spent to me. So what you should analyze